To solve this data sufficiency question, we're going to go ahead and consider each statement separately first and then together if needed. Before we jump to the statements individually, we'll go ahead and just read the question. We're given that when x is divided by 4, the remainder is 3, and we're asked, is x divisible by 9? So there's some information in the question that we can consider before we move on to the statements. So before the statements, let's go ahead and just interpret what the question information actually gives us. We're given that when x is divided by 4, the remainder is 3. This essentially means that x is equal to 4 times some number plus 3, where n is actually going to be an integer. This way, if we divide x by 4, the remainder is going to be 3. Now let's go ahead and jump to our statements. We're looking for whether our statements will be sufficient, meaning that given the information from the statement, are we able to actually answer the question, is x divisible by 9, definitively? Statement 1 tells us x is an odd number. Now, if we consider the given information, x is equal to 4n plus 3, no matter what 4n is, essentially no matter what n is, if we add 3, this whole thing's going to be odd because 4n is always going to be even, and if we add 3, it's going to result in an odd number. So statement 1, we already know from the given question. So there's no extra information from statement 1. This means that it's not sufficient because we can't answer whether x is divisible by 9 just based off of x equaling 4n plus 3, or x being odd. Thus, we can actually eliminate a couple answer choices right now. We can eliminate answer choice A as well as D, since statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Let's move on to statement 2. Let's consider statement 2 alone. Statement 2 says x plus 3 is a multiple of 5. If we kind of interpret this the same way we did our question information, x plus 3 being a multiple of 5 means that x is equal to 5m minus 3 for some integer m. Now, x might be divisible by 9, or it might not. Let's look at some test cases. What if m is equal to 6? In this case, x would equal 5 times 6, which would be 30, minus 3, so 27. And this would actually be divisible by 9. What if, as another case, m is equal to 2? In that case, x would equal 5 times 2, which would be 10, minus 3, so 7. And in this case, x would not be divisible by 9. So with this statement alone, we're actually not able to answer definitively whether x would be divisible by 9, because sometimes it might and sometimes it might not. So this statement alone is not sufficient. In this case, we can actually eliminate answer choice B, because statement 1 alone is not sufficient. We're still left with 2 answer choices, C and E. So our last resort, if each statement alone we can't decide on an answer choice, I can't arrive at an answer choice, we're going to go ahead and combine the statements. So let's consider both statements together. So considering statement 1 and statement 2 as if we have this information together. Now, statement 1 didn't give us any extra information. So for statement 1 and statement 2 together, we really only have the information from statement 2. This means that since statement 2 wasn't sufficient, even if we combine them, since statement 1 doesn't give us any extra information, If we combine them, we still can't answer the question because we're really only left with information from statement 2, and that statement alone was not sufficient either. So putting them together, we're not able to answer the actual question definitively because we would still have this ambiguity here for our divisibility of 9. In that case, we can actually eliminate answer choice C, and our final answer would be answer choice E. Statement 1 and 2 together are not sufficient.